Welcome to our 22nd and final interview here from the live lounge at Kartmasters. I'm your host, Chris McCarthy, and we have to end with the person who really cannot be found when the racing is going on because he's so busy on the circuit, race director Nigel Edwards. Thank you very much for joining us, Nigel. I know it's been a really long day out there, tough day for all your marshals and all the team. First full wet day, Henry reckons, since 2012. So as well as difficult conditions for the drivers, incredibly tough on the team, but it seems like the event has run really, really smooth throughout the weekend.
Yeah, fantastic. No, we're really happy with the day, and I feel like actually saying to the drivers as well, this morning and up to about 2 or 3 o'clock, the heavens opened. It was a horrendous day.
Yeah.
It was like mid-October or November, and to be fair, thank you drivers, because you made a fantastic job. They got on with what they needed to get on, which is great. Yeah. The marshalling team and everything, as you know, we've built, a strong team behind us, and that works really well as well. That's part of the deal, isn't it? It makes it feel so much smoother from the outside. But no, it was a tough day for everybody this morning, and it's never easy when the weather's like that, a bit cold, and it was wet everywhere. So mistakes can happen, and incidents can happen. But I say no, thank you drivers. I think you did a great job today. So there was some great racing as well. A couple of the finals, the heats today are going to show that the finals are. Wow, we need to be ready, I think, because they're going to be great. But no, tough day, but thanks to everybody, we got through it.
Well, before we talk about that racing, I do just want to touch on the marshals, because we have a marshal of the event this year, which will be announced out on the podium tomorrow in the lunch break. Tell us a little bit about that. I mean, certainly whoever wins is going to be deserved. They all deserve to be recognised, but it's a nice addition there.
For sure. Glenn Griffiths is our chief marshal. He's done a great job in pulling the team together. But the teamwork, it's part and parcel of what we want to do here. And it's the concept that we have at Trent Valley. We want it to be enjoyable for everybody that comes. Hopefully the marshals do enjoy it. I know they have to work hard out there. And I think we ended up with some really nice prizes, and one of them will be a signed cap from one of the Formula One guys. So we just thought that'd be a nice little touch to give it to, we'll call it the Marshal of the Day. It's going to be a little bit in the hat and pick. So if you don't win it, Marshal, don't worry about it, because it's, with plenty more coming, I'm sure, later in the year. But it's a nice little touch, because they work hard, how it goes. And safety is obviously key important, and they do a good job there. The other thing which perhaps people don't quite realise, although maybe from the outside when people come and talk to me, they've never been here. Wow, how slick is it all just seems to keep going and keep flowing. But that's part and parcel to the marshals and the incident marshals, clearing the track, getting it ready, timetable to run to. And I think we've got a head in gear now over the years of timetables and people working to it. So no, credit to all the marshals. Whoever wins that prize, don't get upset the rest of you, because it is a bit of a one-off, but just a bit of an accolade to those guys.
And you mentioned there about a Formula One driver. I hope I'm not giving away any surprises here, but we did get a lovely message from George Russell. I mean, we've got the 2 drivers, British drivers at Mercedes, 2 winners from this event as well. How proud does it make you feel when you've got someone like George Russell, who you would have seen race here when he won in Mini-Max and in the cadet classes? Now he's up there doing Formula One. And we've got people like Ollie Behrman on the cusp of going in as well.
No, fantastic. We've got some great guys coming through, and I mean, I know you commentate on the F3, and people don't realise, you probably think F3, 20 drivers on the grid, what the hell? But believe me, to get to that level is immense. So anybody that gets there, that's been with us karting, there's plenty of other guys around as well who do, touring cars for us, Sutton and people like that. It is fantastic, and it's great to see that they've come here. That you'll see them on the trophies downstairs. Kartmasters trophies. Their names will be there. George has been on there a few times. Lewis has been on there. I think it was back in '96, but nevertheless, his name's there. I've done a little bit recently with FIA on race director stuff, and for the first time ever, we've got karting included in it. And actually, Tim Schenkinen, the Australian sort of superhero from many years back, but he does a lot of work for FIA and race directors. When I came, he said, "My God, karting, this is fantastic. I hope everybody realises where all our Formula One stars come from. It's karting. So listen to this guy." And I thought, wow, there's actually people out there who get it, actually get it. And it's fantastic, isn't it? And it's just a little, you have a little chuckle and a smile every time you see the guys or they get interviewed. And I just wish they'd mention karting a little bit more, because they do move away from it a little bit, but I do get it. But no, George has always been great for us. He's done a little promo for us before. And it is great, isn't it? It just adds that little bit more weight to the event. And I think, for the young kids that are around and everything, like, you've got to think, wow, it could be me. It could be me, It's going to be tough, guys, but yeah, it could be you. It could be.
One thing I got to see as well when I did do the FIA karting was the team you have here at Trent Valley very much is almost moved across, isn't it, to do that event because of how good and how slick this event is, how good they are at the job, how much work they put in.
Yep.
It's a great team that you have over with the FIA stuff and all the international events that you do with like road tax, but very much a huge portion of that team is
I think that is the ethos. Yeah, that's the ethos. That's how I see a good race meeting should run. So to try and bring that here and get our people to follow suit, which they have done, for me, that's the only way to do it. It really is. And I'm proud that they've been able to adapt to that as well, because we have a big disparity in England in karting. I'm not decrying anybody, because we're very lucky we've got what we've got here at PF International, but it is a bit of a balance. But when you come here, we want it to be right, and a little bit like, I think it was actually last year's Kartmasters, Derek Warwick's lad got kicked off the grid.
Yeah.
I love it. I don't care. He says, I know what I'm doing, I know what I've got to do, and I know when I've got to do it, and that's it. And if I don't do it, I know what's going to happen. Yeah. And I thought, well, again, that about sums it up, really. And again, it's not about making people unhappy or whatever. It's trying to have a nice, even playing field and do it in a professional way. Hopefully, when people come to Trent Valley, that's the ethos that we have and want to try and promote.
And you mentioned about the racing. It's been fantastic. The viewer numbers that we have got up there reflecting that.
Brilliant.
And I don't think there's a class out there where there's someone that's got this in the bag.
Absolutely, absolutely.
How's it been watching it out there?
No, I think you're dead right. There's some good guys out there. I mean, there's some PF plate guys in several classes, GP guys, 0 plate guys, number 1 plate guys. There's a real mixture in there, and I think it's going to be a bit topsy-turvy, but there's certainly going to be some cracking race. I mean, it's been really close, even in the bad conditions today. But yesterday, there was some hard racing, you know what I mean? It was like, it almost felt like it was a final at that point, but it was hard and fair, so, that's what we're about. So, really good, and big day Sunday.
Yeah, and just a couple more questions before we wrap up then. We had Ava who's racing with Dan Holland from Australia, and she touched on how when she came into the paddock, she did not expect it to be, one, so big, and two, so many nations involved. So many nationalities, almost 30, I think.
Yeah, no, we've done really well. I think a little
becoming a European event.
No, it's nice, and they want to come and do Kartmasters as well, and get that Grand Prix title as well, which is, not to be sniffed at. It's not something you're going to get every day, which is great. I think there is a great mix there. I think our sort of toe in the water with the Euro road tax a little bit later in the year has encouraged a few people to come as well, so I think that's good. But yeah, I think 307 entries. Okay, we're going to be around 300. That's an absolute record for Kartmasters. So the paddock will be full.
Yeah, and you mentioned about Formula 3 driver. We've got On Racing here, and Michael Shin as well. So absolutely fantastic. And the classes out there, it's going to be close, isn't it? Any that stick out for you in particular?
No names, no pack drill.
In terms of classes, hard to pick, isn't it?
Absolutely.
They're all going to be going down to the wire.
They're going to be good.
Well, it's fantastic to have you in, Nigel. We must end with our question of the day. Very hard one for you. But what is your favourite memory from Kartmasters?
Oh, my goodness. We had a little talk just before we started the interview. I think perhaps 2 of them. One was Keir Jewis in Hondas when he came from the back of the grid to win.
Yeah, I remember that.
I think everybody was just like blown away. You just couldn't believe that on a Grand Prix race like that, with the quality of people on the track, he got from 36 to the front to win it, which was brilliant. But the one that sort of stands out, and I know we mentioned we can't quite tip the year, but when Ben Barnicoat was racing here, and he's got some GP titles to his name, quite a few. Yeah. And I think he'd done his cars for a little bit, he'd been with the F3 team, and he came back, and it was like, not quite a swan song, but I'm going to show you guys. And he ended up, and I can remember going down to the last 2 corners, basically, and I think he was in 5th spot. It's a little bit out of sight at the bottom, so the grandstand and people couldn't quite see. You could just see the heads behind the barriers. he came around the corner, and when he came across the finish line, he was first,
Yeah.
and nobody could believe that. Like there was 4 people. Whether I'm not saying that that's probably, but there was certainly a little bit of a schmozzle went on, and we're not quite sure. But Ben came over the line. The grandstand just absolutely erupted.
Yeah.
And again, I think that's something that I'd like to see more of. Karting can be, it can be a little bit individual. I know we've got some teams and that, but I just love, like a grandstand to just completely erupt when, a karter went across the line. So for me, that was special.
It's the PF rule, because I remember it from Kean Jewis when I was commentating here. I remember with Brandon Carr last year. Yeah, it's going to be roaring tomorrow, isn't it?
It is.
There's going to be some of those special moments. You have to join us to watch it all. Live coverage throughout the whole day, including stuff on. I'll be out there on the grid as well. I won't be alone. I'll have an F1 Junior with me. Make sure you tune in from it. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. We'll kick off first thing tomorrow with the pre-finals. Thank you, Nigel, for joining us. Thank you to you and the whole team. Thank you for watching. Do check out all the streams over on Alpha Live.